Hey guys, guess what? Guess who's first up in Dave's COVID Kitchen +1? That's right, it's me. I'm the +1. And guess what? I'm official because I have on a chef's jacket. That makes me a chef. I'm going to share one of my favorite recipes with you. It is world famous and you don't want to miss this. So check out Dave's COVID Kitchen on YouTube. That's right, +1. That's me.
Hi there. All right, today's episode is the Hilton DoubleTree cookies. At the beginning of the pandemic, the wonderful benevolent spirits at Hilton released their coveted recipe for their cookies, their warm, delicious chocolate chip cookies that you get when you check in as a guest. And I'm telling you that there are probably buried bodies somewhere in this world that people lost their lives to keep this recipe under wraps until 2020. So if there was anything positive that came out of this pandemic, it's the fact that they gave us this amazing chocolate chip cookie recipe. It's like no other. And we're gonna show you how to make it today, and I'm gonna make it with my friend and special guest chef, Angel. So before we get started with our ingredients and our recipe, I always like to tell you what you're going to need to get through the cooking process, so you have everything ready to go before you even get started with your ingredients. All right? So, no big surprise here that we're gonna need a cookie sheet, a baking sheet of some sort. Probably more than one if you have it would be good, so you can do a couple batches in the oven at a time. And speaking of that oven, go ahead and preheat it to 300 degrees. Okay, that's our cooking temperature for this recipe. So in addition to that, when you're baking, sometimes you just bake right on the sheet, sometimes you use a cooking spray. Today, for our cookies, we're gonna use parchment paper. We're actually gonna line our cookie sheet, our baking sheet, with parchment paper before we put our dough on it. So the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of dough per cookie. And this is a tablespoon here. It's a pretty good size measure, but how do you get 3 of those at once and quickly get your dough onto your baking sheet? Well, I'll show you a little trick of the trade. That's what I do. One of these ice cream scoops, if you've got them, is about 3 tablespoons. So you can go a little light, you don't have to fill it to the top, but we want you to get fairly full ice cream scoop to scoop your dough, and then we're gonna put it onto our baking sheet. And again, our baking sheet is first going to be covered with parchment paper. All right, so if you've got an ice cream scoop, get that handy. If you don't, that's okay, you don't have to have one, but make sure you have something that gives you about 3 tablespoon size for your dough. Now when you look at this recipe online, and since it's been released by our friends at Hilton, a lot of people have shared it on their personal blogs, their baking and cooking blogs. But it does say at the end that you can cool your cookies on the baking sheet for an hour before serving. And that's totally fine. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't do that. But I'm going to give you another option here for finishing off your cookies, and that is to use a cooling rack. Which, if you like to get in the kitchen and bake, these are like kind of a must-have tool for your kitchen, okay? And so where it's really going to be useful today is if you're doing multiple batches and you need to transfer your cookies from your baking sheet so that you can get another load of cookies on and into the oven. So you can transfer them to this cooling rack, and they'll cool nicely there, just in time for you to, get yourself a glass of milk and get ready to chow down. So option 2, cooling rack. So the recipe that I'm going to provide you here on my YouTube page is going to be for 26 cookies. Now that's entirely too many for me to make today. So what I'm going to be showing you is half that recipe. I'm going to make a baker's dozen here. But just know that the disparity between what you're seeing on screen is because I've reduced my quantity, but I am going to give you a recipe for 26 cookies. So just, if you do need to adjust like I am today, you just need to take whatever portion of the ingredients are listed out to accommodate the number of cookies that you want to make. Well, our oven has preheated and we have our ingredients ready, but I'm not going to talk you through those today like I normally do. I am going to allow the beautiful Angel, my special guest chef from this +1 episode, to take you through your ingredients herself.
Let's get started. So let's get started with our mise en place. First we have flour, we have our chopped walnuts, we have semi-sweet chocolate chips, delicious. We also have an organic, large, free-range egg with no antibiotics. You don't have to have those eggs, but they're best for you. Here's our brown sugar, light. We have our rolled oats. We have our baking soda, a bowl of sugar, a little salt, vanilla extract, and this is going to give it that delicious, warm, cozy flavor you love. 1 stick of butter. We have organic squeezed lemon. Okay, you don't have to have organic, but we have organic here. Now the recipe calls for fresh lemon, but this is a really good substitute. And then we have organic cinnamon. Yours doesn't have to be organic, but once again, it's better for you.
All right, now that you have your tools of the trade and your ingredients, let's talk about the first step in this process of making our DoubleTree Hilton chocolate chip cookies. We are going to cream our butter and our 2 sugars in our mixer for about 2 minutes on medium speed. And that's all we're going to do for this first step. So let's do that.
All right, so I'm going to add my butter. And a little trick I just learned from Chef Day is to break up the butter in the bowl so that it'll cream just a little bit easier. Then I will add my sugar, add my light brown sugar, like me, and let's add our whisk here, and let's get to creaming. So we're done creaming our butter, brown sugar, and granulated sugar. Now we're going to add egg. We're going to add our vanilla extract. And just a little bit of lemon. We're going to let that mix for 30 seconds on low. And then we're going to bring it up to medium speed for 2 more minutes. And we want to keep mixing until it's light and fluffy. And make sure you scrape down the bowl to make sure all your ingredients are getting mixed in well. All right, let's move this up to medium speed. Don't forget, push down ingredients, make sure everything gets nice and blended. So now that our ingredients are nice and fluffy, we're going to turn the mixer on low and then gently fold in all of our ingredients, which is going to be the flour, the oats, the baking soda, salt, and just a pinch of cinnamon. Okay? So let's get this on low. All right, and let's add our flour. Let's see. Let's just scoop that on in there. I'm a terrible flour scooper. We are going to make it do what it do. So let's get all that flour in the bowl. Lovely. Now, let's add our oats. Let's add our baking soda, salt, and we've already pre-measured the pinch of cinnamon. And there we go. Pinch of cinnamon in the bowl. Look at there. Now remember, if your dough is getting mixed up in the whisks, you can always slow it down and stop it, pull that out and keep mixing. But don't overmix, because if you overmix, you'll mess up the recipe. So now that we've mixed all of our ingredients and we've created our dough, we're going to hand blend our ingredients and we're going to fold in our walnuts. Lovely. My assistant is the bomb. And so now that I've got a pretty good mix of the walnuts with the dough, we're going to add in our semi-sweet chocolate morsels. I love the word morsels. It just feels delicious to say the word morsel. Oh, I've got a new spoon. New spoon alert. All right, we're gonna add in the chocolate morsels.
That's a lot of chips.
That is a lot of chips. And it's getting harder to stir the dough.
You gotta put some muscles behind it.
Yes. Now, if this was my kitchen, I would probably use my hands. Okay? And if you want to use your hands, go for it. Just make sure you wash them first.
For at least 20 seconds.
For at least 20 seconds.
COVID.
But yes, since this is a cooking show, we're going to do this the proper way.
The proper way.
And mix it with a spoon. Okay? So look at that. We've got all of our morsels.
It's looking good. Can we get a close
And
up?
look at that. That's beautiful. Doesn't that look delicious?
God.
I could eat this just like this, okay? Just like this, people. Oh man. Smells so good. I can smell the vanilla. All right, so I think we've got a good blend here. All right.
Are we ready to load these onto our baking sheet? I think we are.
Let's make cookies.
All right, so Chef Angel and I have made our delicious DoubleTree Hilton cookie dough with our walnuts and chocolate chips added. There's a lot of chips in this recipe, by the way. So if you feel like it's too much, don't be shy about pulling back a little bit on the quantity of chips that you add. But when we put our scoops of dough on our parchment paper lined baking sheet, we want our cookies to be about 2 inches apart. All right, so on the cookie sheet, you want about that much space in between, up and down, so they don't, run together. And we're gonna start the process of scooping it again. We're gonna use the ice cream scoop, probably finagling that with a spoon, just to help us get it on the sheet. And then we're gonna take it to our oven, which is preheated to 300 degrees. And these are gonna cook for about 20 to 25 minutes. All right, so we are done making our DoubleTree Hilton chocolate chip cookie dough. Special invited Chef Angel in the house. What's up? And we are going to go ahead and scoop that dough onto our parchment paper lined baking sheet, right? Now, when you do your scooping, remember we talked about them being about 3 tablespoons of dough per cookie, and we're using a ice cream scoop to cheat a little bit on that. You do still want your cookies to be about 2 inches apart. on the sheet. So give yourself enough space in between. You don't want them running together. These are actually some pretty good sized cookies too. If you've ever had them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like a meal in itself. So let's get started scooping out some dough, and then we're gonna take it over to our preheated oven. And the cookies are gonna bake for like 20 to 25 minutes at 300 degrees.
And then I get to eat.
And then she gets to eat. Yeah, that's why she's here with me today. All right, so moment of truth, y'all. Scooping this dough. I want not quite a full ice cream scoop here. I'm gonna do like maybe 3/4 of the way full and drop those on my sheet. Now I've got a pretty small cookie sheet here, baking sheet. So I'm not gonna get a lot of cookies on it, but remember, I do want them to be at least a couple inches apart as I place them down here. Ooh, it's looking good up in here. There's a cookie monster in my kitchen. Oh my God. Good times. Dave's Coveted Kitchen is more fun with +1. Now I made enough today, Angel and I made enough today for about what we think are going to be about 13 cookies. Be very curious to see what we get out of here. So we're going to do, I think we're going to do 6 on this sheet, you guys. And we don't want to overfill it. That should be enough for a good first batch, and we'll see how those turn out. Again, keeping them about 2 inches apart as we put them on our parchment paper. You know, I think I might actually get my baker's dozen out of this. Sometimes the eyes can deceive. Gotta get my saw. This was going to be one of the very first things I did for the show. It has been months and months and months of Angel patiently waiting for me to do these, and I think my incentive finally was that she was going to be here to do them with me. And that's exactly the nudge I needed to push me right on over that edge. Got some other good stuff coming up too, like $1 million pound cake. It's coming up pretty soon. All right, so I've got about 2 inches apart, 6 cookies on my sheet. Let's go ahead and transfer these to the oven and keep an eye on them for the next 20 to 25 minutes. And then it's deliciousness time. All right, so here they are, you guys. We baked a dozen of the DoubleTree Hilton chocolate chip cookies, and they look so damn good. And it smells like heaven in this apartment right now. I mean,
absolute heaven.
It does. It smells so good. So our cookies actually took closer to 30 minutes to bake. I'm gonna have 20 to 23 per the recipe on the website, but it took me a little bit longer to get these to brown. What you want to see before you pull them out is you want to see the cookies to brown around the edges but still be somewhat soft in the middle. So you can now stop it. Somebody can't wait to get her hands on these delicious homemade cookies, and I don't blame her because it's very enticing. If you could smell what we smell, well, hopefully you'll make these yourself and you will smell what we smell. What do we smell, Angel? Vanilla, cinnamon?
The vanilla is just divine. The cinnamon is just, that pinch is just really, what's the word? Aromatic?
Yes, it's very aromatic, yeah.
So,
just a pinch of cinnamon. And I think that little squeeze of lemon juice in the recipe is also going to be what separates it from any other chocolate chip cookie recipe you've ever tried. So we've got these on our cooling rack, and we're going to give them a few more minutes here. Now the recipe will say something about allowing them to cool on a baking sheet for an hour, which is totally up to you. If you like a warm cookie, let them cool to the temperature you need them at, and then you can go ahead and indulge yourself. Oh. All right, we are done making, baking, and cooling our DoubleTree Hilton chocolate chip cookies. The world famous, ever so sacred recipe that was shared early on in this incredibly crazy year of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we get to move on to the best part of doing a recipe, and that is
My favorite part.
we get to eat it.
We get to eat it.
Yeah, we're pretty jazzed about it. So we hope you're excited too about the recipe. I want to thank my special guest chef for the very first +1 Days COVID Kitchen episodes. Hopefully there are many more to come, but I couldn't have asked for a better first time out special guest chef, Angel. You did so good today, sweetheart. And did you have fun?
I did, and I learned a lot. I learned some chef tips and tricks along the way.
She did.
So that, when I decide to make these again, I'll know what to do.
She worked the KitchenAid mixer.
Which is fabulous. If you don't have one, get one.
So we're really excited about it. We hope you are too. If you want more great recipes like this one, please subscribe to the channel Days COVID Kitchen on YouTube. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. I am Daylene, and we want to hear from you. Let us know what you thought of the recipe. Did you make any adjustments or tweaks? Hey, tell us what you did, and make sure to tag me if you make this yourself. Post pictures and tag Daylene on IG. Until the next fabulous recipe, we'll see ya. Take care of yourself, stay healthy, and somebody just stole all the cookies. I know. I'm gonna have to go deal with that.
So here we are with our fabulous Hilton DoubleTree cookies. Oh my gosh.
We make cookies, y'all. We bake. They're so good. We're proud of ourselves. They look good too. Look, here's a close up for you.
Beautiful. I think our cookies are perfect.
They actually are. Like they really are. Like I don't normally brag about what comes out of Days COVID Kitchen, but today I'm gonna do that.
Oh yeah, we're bragging because these are beautiful.
And Chef Angel was the bomb today, y'all. She killed it.
I'm a chef. Look at my jacket.
She's legit.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Nom 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 nom.
Mmm.
Come on.
Okay, we're not sharing.
It's the walnuts
Gotta go.
for me. It's the walnuts
It's
for me.
walnuts for you. Oh my god. They're so good. We don't want to share anymore. Go to Dave's COVID Kitchen. Check out the +1 series. Make you some cookies. Guess what? Guess who's in Dave's COVID Kitchen today? That's right, me, Angel, and I'm in the kitchen with Dayana cooking up some delicious cookies.